Good morning, everyone. It's Monday. It's February 23rd, 2026, and we are starting a new week. I hope you're excited about that. I know Mondays for some people can be a drag because they go through a tough week of work. But I hope you like what you do and you're looking forward to Monday in the week. I know I'm looking forward to it. I got some new adventures I think are going to happen this week. I'm excited about that. I'm going to be doing some traveling as I do every week. And I am excited about it. But I will tell you something. It is snowing outside in central West Virginia. I'm not sure what it's doing where you are, but it is snowing here. So anyway, but I'm excited about having another day. Let me remember I am the producer and director of this show, so I do everything, including control the music. So anyway, good morning, everyone. It is snowing. The ground is covered with snow here in central West Virginia. I know a lot of you are in central West Virginia, and I hope I have some morning warriors with me this morning at 7:30 a.m. on a Monday. I know it's tough. 7:30 a.m. on Monday, especially if you don't have to get up. I know it can be tough, but you can do it. And if you can't do it, that's okay. You can watch this at noon at your lunch break. You can watch it in the afternoon. You can watch it this evening when you get home. You can watch it whenever you want because this information is excellent information and fun stuff. And I got one serious story and a lot of things that I think you'll find interesting. I know I found them interesting. That's why I'm going to be talking about them today. Now, there's a little bit of business. I mean, this is new every morning. This is a podcast. I am your host, Tim Kogan. And because it's a podcast, and I'm trying to move to my Facebook page called It's New Every Morning. Now this is still on my personal page, but I don't want to stay there. I want to go to It's New Every Morning. So this is your job assignment today from me, is once you watch this, go to the Facebook page, It's New Every Morning. That's the page that I use. That's the page I want to do this on as soon as I get enough followers, meet all their criteria for doing that. So please go to It's New Every Morning, click on that, because there'll be a time when this Facebook Live will be done there, not here. So if you're already a follower of that, then it won't be a problem. It'll just pop right up for you. So I want to see how many people I can add to It's New Every Morning this week before Friday. Now I'll still do this on this Facebook page Friday, but moving forward, I want to move it to It's New Every Morning. So go follow that, go like it. I'll see how many people are truly listening to me this morning, whether you're listening to me now or later. Good morning, Donna. I bet you have snow up there. It's snowing. It's a light snow going on now, and I don't think we'll get a lot of snow today. But the roads are slick this morning, so be careful if you're out there in central West Virginia. Now, if you're listening to me in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, your roads probably aren't slick. Okay, so you're okay. But if you're in central West Virginia like I am, be careful. All right. So I got some interesting stories. I got a real story, number one, which I find not surprising, but interesting. Good morning, Donna. Okay, so I got a little editorialness in this first story. So after lying to us for 5 years, J.P. Morgan Chase finally admits to closing 50-plus bank accounts associated with President Trump after the January 6th. Okay? Now, they came clean in a court filing. Basically, they didn't want to lie in a court filing. When Trump has a $5 billion suit against them for doing this. And he alleges the closures were politically motivated. Of course, no surprise there. It happened right after July 6th. I can understand why you would think that. But of course, J.P. Morgan says, oh, no, it wasn't politically motivated. It had nothing to do with politics or religion or anything like that. We don't close accounts because of that. What's their excuse? I will quote them. But they can close accounts, and if I quote them, okay, I'm going to quote them. If they create a legal or regulatory risk for the company. So they're trying to say that they closed all those accounts, all 50 accounts, anything to do with Trump, because it became a legal problem for them. I don't get it. I don't understand it. It is now a legal problem for him. President Trump is suing him for $5 billion. $5 billion with a B. So we'll try to follow that story and see what happens there. Okay, so it is Monday, and you may be stressed out. You may be going to work or at work or getting ready to go to work, and Mondays are stressful because your job is stressful. Well, I have an answer for you. Yeah, I got the answer. Put a kid's puzzle together. Yeah. Now, it doesn't matter how old you are. Yeah, it's okay. You can still put kids' puzzles together. And when I say kids' puzzles, I'm talking about maybe a 100-piece puzzle, okay? Now, Amy Dystra is a psychologist, and she believes, and I quote, "It's important for our mental health." Now, kids' puzzles are, a lot less time and work, they're not hard. Grown-up puzzles can be really difficult, it can take you days and days and days and weeks to put together like a 3,000-word puzzle or a big puzzle, okay? That's not really what we're talking about. We're talking about something that, is a little different than that. She says that it helps your productive rhythm, per se, by putting together these simple, somewhat easy puzzles, okay? Let me quote her a little bit. She says, "Once you've completed the puzzle, you can use that momentum to keep going in your day." So it kind of helps you get kick-started with something positive in your day. Another quote from her is, "That simple accomplishment of getting a quick win extends to other more complex and demanding tasks in your life." Good morning, Janet. So by getting a small win, by putting together that, she's saying that it will help you to your next task, will probably be more complex and demanding. So it goes back to the simple act of shapes and colors being put together in your mind, and getting it, getting right in front of you, working it. So she's saying that it's very physically good for you, mentally good for you, and it will help you in your day. So if you need help in your day, give it a try. You don't have to do it the first thing in the morning. You can do it your lunch break or whenever. You might even do it in the evening just to de-stress you. But give it a try. Let's see what happens. I think I'm going to get out a 100-wood puzzle. I don't know how long it'll take me to build it. Well, I may have to get some help from my wife, but puzzles are not my strong point. Let's just say that. All right. Moving to the next story. Consumer Report analyzed prices at grocery stores in major metropolitan areas all over the country, and they were trying to find out what were the most expensive chains and the least expensive chains. Now, of course, there's a lot of variance from place to place, and this is very general. But what they did is they used Walmart as a baseline. Okay, so Walmart's the baseline, and then they compared everybody else. Are you less than Walmart or more than Walmart? Okay, so they used that as a baseline. And, of course, like I said, there's wide variety from place to place. But let me give you some basic information. Of course, they found out that warehouse clubs were less expensive. Like Costco, and I'm not real familiar with BJ's, but, Costco was like 21% less than Walmart as a general average nationwide, okay? So these are generally averages. But pretty big, we already knew that. Sam's Club, I'm sure, Sam's Club's in here. It's a little less than that, but it's there. BJ's I'm not familiar with. Maybe we have people on here that are. But next, after that, was the German-based stores like Lindy, which I'm not from, Aldi, which I am familiar with. They came in at 8.5 and 8.3% less than Walmart. And of course, there are some chains that were more than Walmart. Okay. Now, the way that those German-based companies do it is, if you've been to an Aldi, and I'd say a lot of people listening to this have, and maybe the other one, which I'm not familiar with, they have a lot of private labeled inventory. Most of their inventory is private label, and they use that to keep the cost down. Good morning, Tom. Nice to have you along. So that's how they, that's their system of using it. There's a lot of private label stuff. Now, as you might guess, there are some higher than Walmart. And you might also guess who, if you've ever shopped there. Whole Foods Market is the most expensive at 39% higher than Walmart. This is all, like I said, nationwide. Okay, so but no, there is no surprise that Whole Foods is more expensive than Walmart because they're not known for their low prices. But there is one that is surprising: Trader Joe's. We don't have Trader Joe's around close, so I don't typically frequent them. I have been in them, but they're nearly 25% higher than Walmart. Now, it seems like Trader Joe's really pushes the idea of having good prices, but in this survey, they didn't. Now, I just checked a couple other places that are local, like Food Lion and Kroger's, and Food Lion is 12.5% on average. Kroger's is 14.8% on average, higher than Walmart. So there you go. So, what makes all these differences? Because it's all over the place, differences all over the country. So what makes different locations have different pricing? Well, there's lots of things that influence pricing. Minimum wage. Minimum wage can be a lot higher some places than others. Things like property expenses, the location can be a lot more expensive some places than others. Taxes, of course, can be a lot more expensive some places than others. Another thing that you don't think about that may cause your food to be more expensive or less expensive can be how far it is from your store to a distribution center that they use. If the distribution center is closer, obviously the price of their food is less for them, and so, and then of course, supply and demand, and of course, local competition will move prices up and down. And that's not just for food, that's for everything. I know gasoline prices are famous for local competition. If the gas place across the street goes down, you got to go down because they advertise their prices out front, like most grocery stores don't do a lot of that. So anyway, local competition is also a big deal in grocery stores. Next story. Experts say, and you know how much I love experts, brushing your teeth 3 times a day can help you live longer. Did you know that? It can help you live longer. Now, good oral hygiene isn't just important for your teeth. It helps prevent diseases. One of them is dementia, which seems to be a big deal. Now, they're saying brush your teeth 3 times a day, and I know that's struggled for a lot of people. Twice a day is much easier. 3 times a day, unless you're around the house all day or you have an office so you can brush your teeth or whatever. But it does help you with lots of different things, the risks of different diseases. They say up to 50 serious diseases, including arthritis, and I already mentioned dementia. So now a panel of these experts emphasized this significance at the American Association for the Advancement of Science. They had their annual conference in Arizona last week, and so they're saying that brush them teeth. Now, there is no research that suggests that gum disease causes any of this stuff, arthritis, dementia, or anything like that. So we're not talking about gum disease necessarily, okay? I'm not really sure what we're talking about, but I think it sounds to me like we need to get those brushes out and use them more often. I know I do. Maybe you don't. Maybe you're brushing your teeth 3 times a day every day. And I hope you are, because it'll make you healthier, apparently. All right? Next story. The housing market is hopping. Yep. The housing market is doing good. But, some individuals are really struggling, and individuals and couples are really struggling to afford home ownership. It's really tough. So what are they doing? Well, I got this information from Rocket Mortgage, which does a lot of mortgages. So they have some filling in this area. But people are considering co-buying real estate with a friend or friends or relative, although that's more dangerous sometimes than friends. But anyway, so it sounds great, right? You co-buy, you share the liability, you share the monthly cost, payment, the buy-in if there's an expense in the front, which frequently there is, all that stuff you share with one or even more people. Now, what's interesting about this is that 60% of the realtors that are open to co-buying with homes, but the biggest thing is the reason they're doing it is they just can't afford it. And this has not been driven by younger people. It's being driven by Generation Xers, and even millennials. So these are people that have maybe been renting for 10 years or 15 years, and they're tired of renting. They're not seeing any evidence of it. They'd like to buy, but they just are not at the point where they can. Now, what are the concerns about this? Well, the concerns that people have, and I can understand, are life changes, like children, which is a complicated issue, marriages, where somebody's single and all of a sudden they're married, people move around for their jobs and things like that, so relocation would be a problem. If you own a house here and all of a sudden your job moves you there, then that becomes a problem. So there are problems out there, so you got to be careful. But many individuals are moving to co-buying, and it is a fast way to get to home ownership for a lot of people. But just be careful, all right? Be sure you pick out the right person if you decide to do that. Now we're going to talk about candy. Oh, boy. I love candy. You love candy? Everybody loves candy, right? Of some kind. I do run into people who don't like chocolate, and I don't understand it, but, it's okay. You run into people who don't like almost anything of different areas. So we won't talk about that, but we are going to talk about candy. Now, did anyone besides me notice that Reese Cups seem to taste a little different? I don't know. I mean, they taste a little different than they seem to used to. Well, I know one person that did, Brad Reese. He is the grandson of the man who invented the Reese Cups, the peanut butter cups, okay? And, he says that, and he's criticizing the idea that they're using different ingredients, cheaper ingredients, and he's criticizing them with that. Now, the package does say, okay, that it's made of chocolate candy and peanut butter cream. Okay, if you look at next time you get a Reese, or even go to the store, flip it over and look. It doesn't say milk chocolate or peanut butter anymore. It used to say those, but it doesn't say it. It doesn't say it now. Now it says chocolate candy, whatever that is, not milk chocolate, and peanut butter cream, whatever that is. So he wrote a letter to Hershey's Company on February 14th, Valentine's Day of all days, alleging that they are sacrificing quality for profit. And he's not happy about it. So, I don't know if anything will change there, but he's trying to make it public, and I'm trying to make it public too. So you'll know your Reese Cups have changed, and the next time you get one, and you may want to run out today and get one just to try it, to see if you think it's changed. Now, the other news is there's other multiple candy companies that are considering doing this as well, and may have already done it. So when you pick up your favorite candy bar, flip it over and see if it's chocolate, if it has chocolate in it. See if it's milk chocolate, or see if it's chocolate candy, whatever that is. I don't know. And same with peanut butter or other things. See if it's really got the real stuff in it. All right? I know I'm going to. I'm a Snickers fan. I'm flipping that baby over and seeing if it's got milk chocolate still in it. I'll tell you that for sure. I'm pretty sure it still has peanuts. Anyway, moving right along. The next story. Loving thy neighbor has taken extra meaning for a Texas food bank. Okay, this is so great. They have gone the extra mile for their customers. Now, they are overseeing an affordable housing development right next door, because a lot of their people are getting pretty much priced out of the town. This is in San Antonio, and they don't want that to happen. So they're currently on construction. It's called Appleseed Apartments. It'll be located right beside this food bank in San Antonio. And it will provide transitional housing to families that are earning 80% or less of the area's median income. So they're reaching people that are not making a lot of money and are renting out places that they can afford to. Yeah, which is a neat idea. And they will also offer at this place some financial literacy classes to help them out with their finances. Now, Eric Cooper is the CEO of this food bank. And when he was asked about this, this was his quote, and I quote, "We know neighbors, we help neighbors." Pretty good quote. Pretty simple. Right down to the things. So that's a pretty neat program, I think, and I hope you think it is too. Now I'm running really long today. That's because I'm running really long. That's a lot of stories. I got one more, okay? And this is kind of a serious thing, but how much you know about self-pity? Self-pity, it can be deadly. I mean, self-pity really can. Let me give you some examples. Wife and mother who works hard thinks, I'm just not appreciated. Or an office worker says, look how valuable I am, and I never get recognized or rewarded for all the things I do. It says to the unemployed, there's no chance. I just don't have any chance to get a job. To others, struggling, it might say, there's no place for you, or there's no hope. No way you can make it. Those are the things you're saying to yourself. Now, I'm not saying you are, but that's self-pity. Now, let me give you a Bible example. Look at the prophet Elijah. 24 hours after his greatest victory, 24 hours later, he was depressed and wallowing in self-pity. See if you think this sounds like self-pity. This is what he said in 1 Kings. This is Elijah while talking to God. Okay? I'm not saying praying to God. This is talking to God. Okay? And I quote Elijah, I have had enough. Take my life. I have zealously served, but the people of Israel have broken their covenant with you, torn down your altars, and killed your prophets. I am the only one left, and now they're trying to kill me too. Unquote. Sound like self-pity? That man is in self-pity. Now, generally speaking, there are two reasons people have self-pity, and I'm going to cover both those real quick. The first is emotional manipulation. People use self-pity as a weapon to guilt trip others into getting their own way. Does that sound familiar to anyone? Huh? Using it as a weapon to get their own way with you, maybe. Someone's using that on you to manipulate you. Now that's immature, as we know, and you have to deal with it. We all have to deal with it when we have someone that's using self-pity to try to get their way, with somebody else like us. The number two is a little different. Number two, self-pity can stem from sheer just exhaustion. And the great thing about it is God in Elijah gives us the recipe to fix this, which I think is great. So this is recorded in here, and God shows Elijah 4 behaviors he is needed to correct himself and get back on track. Number 1, he needed more rest. He was exhausted. And when you get exhausted, and I don't know if you feel this way, but I know I do. When I get exhausted, I don't think rationally. My mind goes all over the place. And exhaustion can be a part of it. And when you get exhausted, you kind of feel sorry to yourself. You don't even notice you're doing it. Number 2, he needed to eat better. If you get busy and you're stressing and you're not eating and stuff, then that can also affect this. And you start getting down on yourself and start using that little self-pity stuff. So you got to start eating better. More rest, eating better. Number 3, he had to turn his eyes to God. Stop trying to do everything yourself. Sometimes you just think, I got to get this done. But what you need to do is you need to let God help you get that done. If you turn to God with the help, it will ease you, and it will also help you get rid of that little self-pity stuff that you're tempted to get in that sense. And the fourth one, real important, and it was real important for Elijah, is you're isolated a lot of times when you have self-pity. You feel like you're all alone. So you need to find a friend. You need to find a friend. And it can be anybody. Now, what did God do? Well, he gave Elijah Elisha. And that worked. The next time you read about Elijah in the Bible, he's back. He's back to his old self. So take a moment today and think about how you can apply these 4 things to your life. Do you sometimes have a self-pity problem? Huh? Do you? I think everybody does sometimes. I mean, you know, you want to keep it down to a minimum, but I think everybody has some self-pity sometimes. So my advice to you today, which I've already gave you, but I'll give you in my words, slow down, eat better, turn to God, and find a friend that will uplift you, but at the same place will put you in your place when you need it. All right? We'll be honest with you, be straight with you. Because you want friends that will do both. You want friends that will uplift you and also be straight with you. Those are the friends you look for. And when you find those friends, I think it will help you with your self-pity and your entire life. So with that, you guys have a wonderful week. I hope you enjoyed this. Please share with your friends. Tell everybody about it. And once again, after listening to this, go to Facebook. It's a new every morning. That's where this podcast will eventually be. I want to see how many new people follow me this week between now and Friday. All right. So you guys have a blessed week. Stay warm, stay safe, be blessed, and I will see you Friday morning. Bye-bye.